Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to our weekly video. This is our last full week of January of 2022. So I'm curious, how has your month been so far? What have you experienced as the start of 2022? Leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you and have some discussion. So for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Dr. Kara, or Kara Hanks, and I help people to become their own shaman. And these wisdom videos are really designed to just give you some insight, maybe provoke some thought or some journaling, and to provide some support as we're trying to navigate this really special time in the evolutionary process on our planet. So every approximately 26,000 years, our planet goes through a major transition, and we happen to be lucky enough to be living through another massive and profound transition. And when we tap into the energy and we learn to live in flow with nature, like many of our ancestors did. So my teachings and my understanding or depth of understanding that I allow to guide me and be the foundation of what I live and teach is really in the Americas. And so the great shamans of the Americas believed that we are in one of the most profound transitions, and we are very lucky to be a part of it, and that we can co-create the future with our with our own hearts and our own soul, and with our Earth Mother. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that today. I have a few notes, so you might see me kind of looking at my notes. Of course, I don't have my glasses on, so it's hard to see them. But what does it mean to be our own shaman? You know, being our own shaman to me means that we are widening the gap between our material lifestyle and the tangible things that we see, and connecting on a deeper level to our intuition and to all of the subtle energies around us that really is the source of all things. Over these past years, decades and centuries, what we have done is kind of moved away from the connection with the life force that lives and guides us from the inside out, and the life force that emanates deep from within our planet, and then of course within the universe. And we're lucky enough that science is starting to begin to explain frequency and energy and give it some foundation. But thankfully, our ancestors trusted in this flow from nature and this wisdom that they learned to tap into. And truthfully, they learned to tap into it because they needed to in order to survive. And so I want to just move into kind of the challenges, right? We can perceive our world as being full of challenge and overwhelm and negativity, and that's kind of a trap. And it's really important for us to try to tap into the light that is within each of us, and connect with that, become more aware of the light within and how it attracts the light outside of us, how we can tap into the intelligence and the energy of the sun and the moon and the water and our Mother Earth, the electrical energy that is on the planet, just the elements that really sustain life and how we can work with them in a way to make life easier, to help us to dissolve the fear. And so there's this duality that lives within us and upon the planet. And the past couple of weeks, I've been talking about neutrality and how to find a space of neutrality within the duality, because the space of neutrality is where our power lies, because when we can see both sides of a circumstance or a situation, realize that both sides live within each of us and will live within the consciousness upon the planet, and not be triggered by either side, that's where the personal power is. It doesn't mean, again, that we don't have a passion or we don't resonate with one side more than the other, but it's about coming into our power with what we see as truth without demeaning, crushing, or hurting other people in the best way possible. So we are all in this transition period, both individually and then collectively as, humanity as a whole. And so when things get tough, when things get difficult, because I don't know about you, but Mercury is in retrograde, and the weekend was a powerful weekend of low vibration energy or challenging emotions rising up from within, sometimes rising up from within people around me. So you may have experienced that as well. How do we keep our grounding? How do we navigate through that space so that we don't lose the path that we're on or lose our connection to inside of us? And so in the services that I provide and in the products that I offer, the things that we talk about most prominently are how to meditate or journal and different tools to be using with those tools to be able to really move through the uncomfortableness. And sometimes the uncomfortableness is really extreme. It can be extreme uncomfortableness in the physical body or the mental body, where our mind is just perseverating over the same old thoughts and beliefs. And then the emotional body, where we can get very emotional and easily stuck in those emotions, particularly if they're low vibe emotions such as sadness and grief or anger and rage. And the reality is that we have to experience those emotions, but oftentimes those emotions are coming up, giving us a release point. They're giving us a portal to be able to move beyond the things that those lower vibration emotions are rooted into, or the thoughts that create the mental catastrophe and the chaos. And so if we can recognize that this too shall pass, and that and we can develop skills and tools to be able to separate us a little bit, create a little bit of space, a little bit of movement between what we're experiencing. And sometimes it's a combination about all of them, right? Sometimes it's a physical reaction or experience that we're having, and then there's emotions and mental thoughts that come along with it. And this is normal. It's life is complex and often a synergy of those things. So when we can keep our perspective that more than likely what we're experiencing is an opportunity to create positive movement, forward movement, to dismantle something that is not in a structure that is going to be keeping you connected to your intuitive guidance. So what we're doing in these times, in truth, is really building awareness. And when we keep that into perspective and we make that commitment to building the awareness, we get to move out of the chaos. And so awareness comes in such divine ways. And so again, it can come through feeling, it can come through the experiences that people around us are having and not necessarily our own experiences. So when we talk about awakening and we talk about, expanding our awareness, what we're really, we want to keep in mind is that we think that, or we can get caught in the trap or the understanding that awareness is seeing more. And really, especially now, because there's so much going on and so much bombarding our senses, that it requires a little bit of stillness or a little bit of pause so that we can let the guard down just a tad and really be able to perceive the world through a variety of different ways and kind of take an assessment, if you will, of kind of all the pieces, because usually there's a thread going through all the things that we're experiencing in the uncomfortableness that is really illuminating the way. So the thread to me is often shimmery or filled with light, because it's that thread that is trying to show me or illuminate for me the path to the other side of the uncomfortableness, the path to the dismantling of all the things that I've been holding on attachment to that that really I don't need to hold on to anymore. And usually it's because we've done some sort of internal work, right? We've made some shift within ourselves, whether it's in our heart or our mind, that begins to open up the clarity and the coherence between the heart and the mind. So that is my message for you this week, is that as we are midway through Mercury retrograde, we come out of Mercury retrograde somewhere around February 3rd or 4th. So we're midway through. We want to take a look at how has the first part of the month, the first couple weeks of the month, been different from the last week or so of the month, because looking at that and looking at the differences can really illuminate for us what it is that Spirit's calling us to work on, or what it is that Spirit is calling us to recognize or become aware of in our life. And then we have this free will to be able to change it. And we have one more week, a little more than a week, maybe a couple weeks, until the closure of Mercury retrograde. And so rather than it being a time of demise or fear, let's look at it as this opportunity to clear some things, to clear the path for you, so that as the energy and the momentum to take action builds in February, we're ready and we know, we have greater clarity of where to take those forward steps, where we want to apply that energy. So the month started off a little slow and is giving us this opportunity to really kind of self-assess. And then we stepped into Mercury retrograde, where everything kind of starts maybe slowly spinning, reverberating, churning up things that are happening within us and also happening outside of us in our relationships with people, or perhaps with our finances, perhaps with our businesses or our jobs, our career paths, our relationships with our homes and the spaces where we live and work. Keep in mind that relationships can be a relationship to anything, to the food that we eat, right? The habits that we keep, those are all relationships. So what has been happening over this past week? And when we journal, People often love journaling or hate journaling. So this is why I kind of smile a little. When we journal, it just gives us that insight of being able to go back and see, well, what was the prime theme for me of feeling and thought on this particular day or that particular day. So it is a great tool to give us a greater insight and awareness. But be sure that you're taking time to rest. Be sure that you're taking time to feel those feelings, to recognize those thoughts or come into awareness with those thoughts. Be honest with yourself, open with yourself, so that you can really use this time to grow. Are you spending a lot of time with your thoughts in terms of what other people are doing outside of you and around you, whether it's in your small circle or in the larger circle of society or politics, right? Are we making sure that we are investing our energy, our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings into the things that we actually have the ability to change and shift? And remember, our thoughts, our feelings, they create profound impact in the world because they are energy. And so if we are thinking and feeling in terms of what we don't want, that is not productive, right? It's productive in keeping us locked up in the unpleasantries of what we may be experiencing right now, but it's not creating the opening. So remember that old saying, we can't create positive change from the same place that we created the chaos from. And that is true. And that's kind of what I'm speaking to at the moment. So let's give ourselves permission to really use this time to step into self-care when we need to, step into rest when we need to, and give yourself that time to sit in stillness, take a walk out in nature, so that you can really be honest with yourself in terms of what are you feeling, what are you thinking, because those are the things that you're projecting out into the world. And give yourself permission to continue to send out what you're sending out or to change it. And all right. I guess that's it for today for your message. And then I do want to just mention Whisper. Many of you know I use doTERRA essential oils. I love the effect that they have, the life force that is still contained within these brown bottles from the plants from which they're harvested. And Whisper is an essential oil blend from doTERRA that is designed to connect us with the divine feminine. It was originally created as a individualized perfume for people, particularly women. When we apply it to our skin, it mixes with our own chemistry, our own pheromones, producing a very unique aroma. This blend has within it a lot of essential oils that help us to rise, to lift up out of the mundane, out of the immediate, right? The tiny details that might be getting us caught, and rise up out and rise into a higher vibrational space, or out of the circumstances, so that we can begin to see things from a different perspective. These essential oils that help us to rise also support our heart, uplifting our spirits, our mood, and our mindset. And then there are also essential oils in there that provide this very calming and soothing effect, particularly to the heart. So if you're moving through something that is challenging or difficult right now, because Mercury is in retrograde and wanting us to really take advantage of an opportunity to make profound change in our life, whisper over your heart or your throat or your forehead or even the back of the neck can give some great support and relief as you are coming more into yourself and leaving some of that some of that old stuff behind, that stuff that you've been allowing to define you that really doesn't define you anymore, but it's keeping you stuck and trapped. So if you are called, you can check out Whisper. If you don't know how to get it, but it sounds like a good thing, then just send me a message, reach out to me. You can email me through evolvewithkara@gmail.com. You can send me a DM. You can connect with me at Evolve with Kara on Facebook. And then last but not least, hit the subscribe button, share this video, and don't forget we have our next shift experience coming up on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. So if you go to the website, khevolution.com, you can check out the shift experience. It's a great way to get some remote energy healing and some channeled information to support you exactly where you are right now. All right, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this profound change and transformation. Really, we not a choice, but when we're consciously invested in it, I think that things can move a little bit faster and we can have access to more resources. So thank you for having an interest in wanting to become your own shaman and learn more and just engage with people of like mind. Have an amazing week, and I look forward to seeing you soon.